Hello again, and welcome to Satisfactory. Today, I'm going to show you how I made the Fix-It Engineer helmet. This helmet was designed by Bill Duran from punishedprops. So go check out how he made the helmet on his channel. So let's start from the beginning. Satisfactory released its 1.0 update. So of course, we had to play it.
I'm almost done with our screws, Calvin.
No! Oh my god.
Milestone reached. Coal and iron can be combined in the foundry to
It's easy.
Better not pop it.
Oh,
Come here!
stay away from me!
Look, I'm pretty sure I can handle it again. Car crash!
Alright, now that we got all the goofy moments out of the way, let's get down to business. First off, what I did first was I printed out the helmet. I printed it out on my Ender 5 Plus and lost all the recorded footage of that. After printing out the helmet, I sanded it all down with 80 grit, then 120 grit, and then 220 grit. After sanding it down, I put on some spot putty to fill in some of the little gaps and imperfections. After the spot putty dried, I went back to sanding it to get it all nice and smooth again, so those gaps finally went away. After I was done sanding, I washed the helmet down in my small sink, just so all the dust would go away. Yes, I know I could have used isopropyl alcohol as well, but water is free. So after all that sanding and spot putty and washing it, I managed to drop the helmet from orbit, cracking the right side of the helmet open. Oopsies! Now luckily this wasn't as bad as it sounds, and it's very fixable. I just applied some of the 3D gloop to the side of it and inside the crack, and it rebonded the plastic, and I was able to sand it back down. Now that I've successfully hidden my crimes, it's time to blast this guy with some filler primer. I'm using the Rust-Oleum thicker filler primer because it really gets in those little gaps and it's easy to sand. And it dries in like 15 to 20 minutes. I love this stuff. Luckily all I gotta do is get a nice even coat on the whole helmet, let it dry, and it should be good. Now that the helmet's all dry, it's time for wet sanding. I love wet sanding. It gets it nice and super smooth. Mwah. I'm going to be using 220 grit because I shouldn't need to go higher than that for this helmet. It should be fine. Oh, look at that. Absolutely beautiful. Once the helmet dries, it's time to hit it with some real paint. So while making the helmet, I didn't want to airbrush the entire helmet, the weird yellow-orange that it is. So I managed to find this Tamiya paint online. It's the rattle can. And it worked really well. And it looked amazing for the color that I needed. Now that the helmet is painted the color I wanted to drill the holes for the LED lights that I was going to install into the helmet. After I drilled the holes for the LEDs, I switched gears to airbrush on the blue stripes on the helmet and the blue accent pieces on some of the accessories that go on the helmet, like the brim and the back piece. Once everything was truly painted, I decided to drill holes into all the little spots along the helmet to put in some small hex bolts into the helmet to add a little bit more detail to it. Now it was time to cut some small aluminum tubing to make the spacers for the brim and the back piece and the aluminum cage thing that goes around the helmet. This part was definitely very challenging because I didn't know how deep these were supposed to be, which is fine because it ended up looking really good anyways. Okay, let's pause here real quick. See those pieces on the right that have 2 circles on them and they're like a biscuit? Those were not supposed to be silver. I forgot they were not supposed to be silver. They were supposed to be the orange yellow. I forgot. So then I glued them in, and it was forever. You can't take those out. My bad. Oopsies. So after I painted them, I press fit in the little circle detail and then drilled a hole through them for the LED lights to come through. We're now at the point where it's finally time to glue things onto the helmet and screw things into place. So I forgot to record me wiring up the helmet, and I'd never made a wiring diagram. Oops. I managed to get one picture of like the 5 iterations I went through of wiring the helmet. It's not super hard. Battery, switches, wires, LEDs, and fans if you want. If you plan on recreating what I'm doing, it's not super hard. You can look up a wiring diagram. Or just start touching wires together and see what works and what doesn't work. That's what I did. I'm crazy. And after I finished wiring it, my helmet was done. But that's not where the story ends. Because after I finished doing that, I took a little break and found out that in like, I don't know, 3 weeks was Emerald City Comic Con. So I was super pumped for that. And my mom said, well, I want a helmet. So we're back for round 2. But not only do I have to make another helmet, I gotta figure out how to make the Satisfactory suits. And I'm not gonna lie, I do not have a lot of experience with fabric. And sewing is really hard. But there's no better time to learn than the present, so here we go! Okay, so first thing I did was print out the next helmet on the Bamboo P1S. And, you know, the sports came off super easily, and it looked amazing. And I'm not going to go over everything I did to this helmet, because it's the exact same thing that you just watched. So, you know, there we go. It's done. Okay, so for the actual suits that the engineers wear, at first we just bought some basic overalls off Amazon that were kind of close to the color, and they were okay, but it wasn't the right color. So what we did was we bought these Dickies work covers that you can get on Amazon. People like to use them for Ghostbuster costumes, and what we did is we pinned up the outline of what we knew we wanted to cut away from the jumpsuit, so we had a basic vision of what we wanted it to look like. We then decided to cut the outline on the suit out and then fold things over and use heat activated adhesive on the suits, and then we decided to cut out orange yellow in a very specific pattern so it could lay over top of the jumpsuit, and we could just use adhesive stuff on the suit to adhere everything. We did sew some of the orange and a little bit of the suit back together, but honestly, you really didn't need to. It looked good enough. All that was left after sewing all the suits up was to buy the work belt and the harness to attach to the belt, and we were basically done. We could have added a little bit more detail, like the connectors that go from the top of the harness to the bottom of the belt on the front, but I think it would have clashed a bit too much with everything, and it looks good enough as is. And there you have it. The suits are all done with 1 day to spare, basically. Now was the fun part, which was Saturday. We dressed up in the suits and had a blast of a time. Got to see a lot of really cool people that really enjoyed Satisfactory in the suits. And we got to meet Bill Duran from punishedprops, which was awesome. He loved the suits. Yeah, it was a good time. And we managed to get in the ECC Instagram reel, which was super cool. So yeah, I'm just gonna roll footage of everything I've managed to find online of people posting us, and yeah. Okay, so that's all I managed to find online. Thank you all for watching. Please consider subscribing to get us past 500. That would be super cool. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Sorry it took so long. It takes a while for me to edit and make suits for videos, but yeah, I had a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoyed.